All right, everyone, we have a shakeup within politics right now. Marjorie Taylor Greene unexpectedly announcing that she intends to resign, effective in early January, actually. So Trump had threatened to primary her. There was some bad blood there. This will be a little bit of a nuanced take. Marjorie Taylor Greene does have a legitimate gripe about, well, the government in general. There are bills that are sitting on Speaker Johnson's desk that are never addressed. She points this out. And then there's various dysfunction within DC. Not that there hasn't been anyway, because, I mean, it's DC. What do you expect? It's Washington, DC. No, there's no dysfunction here at all. She has a legitimate grievance, but then she misidentifies, I think, who is responsible for most of that grievance. Really, it's the House. It's the House of Representatives and Speaker Johnson. She mentions in her op-ed here, link in the description, archived of course, Donald Trump about 20 fucking times. She mentions Johnson, I think, twice in the entire article. Your grievance makes sense. Oh, we've got all of these bills that are just sitting around and they're never up for vote or anything like that. Yeah, but that's a problem with the House. Trump is lashing out at her for simply being petulant and saying, look, going on Quixotic adventures, basically, in which you don't really have the possibility of even passing some of this legislation. And Johnson is more of a pragmatist. I wish he was a little bit less measured, though. I will agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene on one thing. I would like to get the MAGA ball rolling faster. I would like there to be more progress. Now, we've already seen some great shit. We've got tax relief. We got that. Certainly, we've got an effort on immigration and the border. That much is blatantly clear, considering that certain blue states and blue cities are in open revolt at the moment. So that's a success. And you've definitely gotten a redesign of parts of the economy, and you do have some meaningful foreign policy impact as well. When we look at the latest from Ukraine and Russia, that will probably fall through. I'm not sure. We'll have to investigate further, Mr. Corso. But generally speaking, that's going well too. But I still don't have Section 230 reform. We still don't have other provisions that have been spoken of, because Trump, he did something interesting when he was running for office this last time. Instead of, going the normal, like, lamestream route, he simply said, fuck it, I'll just take it to people, myself, and then built Truth Social, and now it's hatched in with Twitter for the most part. But and then, of course, on Rumble, he was making a lot of videos. So he made hundreds and hundreds of campaign pledges. Some of them he's already fulfilled. Some of them, unfortunately, appear to have been backburnered. The big one for me is internet reform. And now we're talking about, guardrails for AI and stuff like that. So I do share the reluctance to full-throatedly support everything the administration is doing, because it's really not about what it's doing. Most of what it's done, I support. Not everything, but for the most part, that's good. What I have a problem with is, I believe, what Marjorie Taylor Greene has as a problem too, which is not enough is being done. You keep slamming it out of the park for the most part. When you actually involve yourself with something, you should involve yourself in more things. Instead, Donald Trump right now is tearing out the rose garden to make it into a tile floor. So I understand that, but she needed to leave. Because in order for the Trump administration to pragmatically act and actually get these things through, it takes time. One of the things that I have so much frustration with other people over is their inability to understand how the legal system and the political system work. They are mastodontically slow. When you get something that goes through and it's pretty much instantaneous and unanimous, usually it's a bad idea. This is why I'm not necessarily 100% on board with the bill with regards to the Epstein files, because it was manufactured in the dead of night after a bunch of focus groups said, oh, we can probably figure this out. You're not going to get the entire Epstein files. It was rushed through. In fact, Marjorie Taylor Greene could be resigning in part because of this. Because the House and the Senate, when they agree very, very widely on an issue, it's something like the Patriot Act usually now, isn't it? So, fool me once, fool me twice, you can't get fooled again, says George W., or something to that effect. It was semi-incoherent at the time. Uh, Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to be out of Congress. Now, this leaves the Republicans in a bit of a lurch because your majority in the House and the Senate is anything but thick. It is the thinnest cut of bacon that you could possibly get, and that's your majority. This is going to be a problem. But she wouldn't have won the primary if she had been primaried anyway, so it's really just sour grapes at that point. I have a feeling the Republicans are going to lose the House in the midterms, by the way. That is now my prediction. Based on the things that have happened over the last few weeks, the Senate Republicans, they might do okay. I don't think that they lose the Senate, but in the House, yeah, I have a feeling that the next House Speaker will be Hakeem Jeffries. We'll put it that way. It'd take a miracle for that not to happen. Under normal circumstances, the reigning party loses the House anyway, so this would be a historical norm. I think there's only one or two instances in the last century where it hasn't happened. Now, that's not a great track record for the reigning party because they take more attrition. They're more visible. Marjorie Taylor Greene became a problem for MAGA while upholding MAGA. It's a very strange scenario when you think about it. She's more of a purist. So ideologically speaking, she's more on the just do it side. And Trump and certain others are more on the procedural side, which is, well, yes, we can do it, but it's going to be slow because we got to do it the right way. When you look at the level of lawfare that and this is pointed out actually in the op-ed that she penned as well, the lawfare against Trump and others, when you have that level of judicial persecution towards your administration, you have to make sure that every T is crossed and every I is dotted, because a typo in a piece of paper can torpedo your entire idea. So you have to be clerical, you have to be very, very stringent in how you word everything, what you suggest, how you apply it, and stuff like that. I think that more ideological individuals, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, don't quite comprehend this. You've got to have that balance. You do have to have your ideology and try to ram it through, but you have to do it the right way or it does not work. It doesn't matter how many shots you fire if you're firing them in random directions, in other words. Oh, I've got a column of good troops here. Too bad they're busy shooting the trees. So they're not shooting the enemy now, are they? It would be better to actually take aim before you fire, so to speak. By the way, I love it how some members of Congress right now are bitching about what Donald Trump said about, oh, he's going to hang us. That's so you've got apple pie in the sky, that's for sure. You don't even know what you're talking about. Marjorie Taylor Greene needed to resign, but not for the reasons that some people are suggesting. Some people are just like, they're really gung-ho for Trump, and they're like, well, Trump called her a traitor, she needs to go. That's not the reason why, though. It's because while she has the proper ideology, generally speaking, she's not pragmatic enough to actually understand that this process is slow. And by the way, it is slow by design. When government moves quickly, that's usually not a good thing, especially if it's the judiciary. When the judiciary immediately gets involved and injuncts literally anything that the administration does, it's because of corruption. When the House and Senate move forward with a bill over the course of a 48-hour period, normally that is not a good thing. It was meant to be a slow process, especially at the Senate level, by the way. But that has been partially abandoned. So what you get are good bills that sit on a desk. That's Mike Johnson's fault. That has nothing to do with Donald Trump's decision-making. But then you get shitty shit that's pushed through almost immediately. We've been seeing this for a very long time. Again, the Patriot Act is a millennial. That would be the best example that I can possibly offer. Hey, let's go to war with this country. Oh, sounds like a great idea. Let's take a vote right now. Meanwhile, you have a bill sitting on a desk for 6 months gathering dust about, the need to have free speech on the internet, because it's actually a good idea or something like that. Good ideas are slow-walked. Bad ideas are forced through quickly. In Trump's case, he has managed to overcome this on several issues again. The ice raids, which I approve of, I believe generally are a good idea. The border, certain elements of foreign policy. He's threatening to withdraw all help from Ukraine and leave it to the Europeans. I broadly agree with this idea. If they don't accept the deal, I guess, Europe can handle it. They're so high and mighty, you've got nukes too, so I think that the European countries probably are capable of intervening. It's not necessary for the United States to be directly involved. This does not make me a Russophile. Of course, I'm neutral on the continuous issue. I do not believe in the Russian invasion, but it doesn't really matter. I believe that MTG, also has a differentiation with Trump on that and certain other foreign policy issues. That might have been another rough point, actually, within their relationship in the political sense. And then she's also saying, well, I need to spend more time with my family. That's fully understandable, too. Can understand if you have to spend most days in DC, so you can't even have a Christmas dinner with your own children or something like that. There's a reason why I never would seek federal office. You think I want to go to DC? I didn't even like having to go through it through the airport, which is dystopian almost. Although their security is very, very quick. I will give them credit where credit's due on that one. I didn't even like having to go through that when I went on Tim Pool's show, actually. Just being in DC gave me the shivers. I'm like, oh, God. There's politicians and a bunch of sleazy lawyers and stuff around. And not sleazy like the cool dude that'll sell you crack and make heavy metal, but the slimesters, the ones that sit in the alley waiting for someone to get mugged so that they can do a tort lawsuit or something like that. That's about all. Peace out.